Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead video for today. And this one, first, we're going to give our thoughts on whether or not we think All Out War will last all of Season 8. And spoiler warning, of course, if you have not seen the finale yet for The Walking Dead Season 7. I'd assume pretty much everybody has at this point. It's been a few weeks in that. Really cool stuff. So I've been enjoying the daily video, so I hope you guys have been too. If you missed it on Sunday, if anybody still hasn't seen it, Death Predictions video for Season 8's in the channel right now. Negan is a zombie, so check it out. That's fun. Took a few hours to make up. So check it out. It's in the channel. Watch that. And yesterday we did a video giving our thoughts on Andrew Lincoln, saying that episode 100, and really Season 8, has him more excited than ever for a new season of a show or for another episode. So really exciting stuff for Season 8. And then this one came through from kind of the discussion we've been having in the recent Q&As and that, but also Real Talk or Walk sent through a message, and he said, he's got some good points here. He says, Trev bro, I guess he refers to me as Trev bro, there is no way All Out War could only be half a season. So there's no way All Out War could only be 8 episodes. Also, it would be extremely difficult for the showrunners to have to change up the entire set, character designs, and surrounding communities halfway through a season, especially since even though we get a mid-season break as viewers, the cast showrunner production doesn't stop filming between those episodes. They film all the way through the season. So how would it be possible they would be able to pull off such a huge change mid-production? Plus, All Out War would be way too rushed for 8 episodes, and there's so many factions and factors that are involved in the war and in the show now, even more in the show than there is in the comics, which is true. The showrunners can easily fill out the entire season with the war. We'll see all the main event battles throughout the season, like the Sanctuary attack in episode 1, the outpost attacks probably in 2, 3, and 4, with each outpost attack being drawn out to take up a whole episode, and the grenade attack will definitely be like a mid-season finale. Also, Ezekiel's attack on an outpost from issue 118 will definitely be worthy of a whole episode. Also, we will most likely see, so then gets into some other stuff. So deaths and stuff, which you could read in the comment. It's in the description if you want to check it. I want to keep it like, I try to be kind of careful. I mean, we're talking about something based on the comics. So comic spoilers for this video, yeah. But I don't want to get into too many specifics in this one because it's more a discussion on how long we think the season's going to take and how long All Out War is going to take. So the reason for my logic right off the bat of just kind of looking at it, usually they do about 3.5 volumes per season. Right now we're up to volume 20. I was just looking at March to War. We basically covered everything in March to War, most of it anyway, with the exception of just like a few small things here and there that they may or may not adapt at all. But so we've even covered a good portion of All Out War Part 1. So that would basically leave you with, if you want to count it, all of Season 8 would be this volume, All Out War Part 2, and about maybe 60% of this volume or 70% of this volume, say 65, just call it even there. So it's like 1.35, volumes for an entire season. So that usually does not follow the formula that we've seen the show over the last number of seasons. Ever since Gimple took over as showrunner, he pretty much does it that way, where if you look at it, it's usually around 3 volumes per season. So this season, what you're proposing would be that All Out War takes up the whole season. That means you would only get roughly these two, not even these two because we covered part of this one. It sounds to me like it's not enough to cover the whole season for how they adapt it. Also, it's kind of tricky because a lot of it's action-based. So could they fill out All Out War for the whole season? Well, yeah, they definitely can. Season 7 had a lot of things pretty stretched out in it as well, too. And they really did get good usage out of the storyline in that one. With this one, you bring up some really good points, though, which is that if they want to do a time skip, which is what occurs in this volume, and a lot of things change throughout this volume, if they want to do something similar, they would have to revamp a lot of the communities, because if you have the war going and you have different locations being destroyed as part of the war, they would have to rebuild, they'd have to revamp and then do, that would be pretty big to do for a season. That's a really good point. That would be pretty costly, because if you have, for example, Alexandria get attacked and then Alexandria gets smoked or something, grenade explosions or something like that, which we kind of saw in the finale too, but maybe even worse. Let's say the walls gets blown down and stuff like that, and maybe rammed through with a truck or something, a semi or something, and it gets really bad, and the whole thing is like destroyed. It would be pretty hard for them to kind of rebuild that later on, in the season, and then do like a time skip in the same season. So maybe what we'll see is, a lot of us have kind of thought for years that maybe what they'll do is, instead of just doing a whole time skip, they'll add an additional story somewhere, in the midst of that, so that they don't have to kind of skip right through to it. Of course, with the TV series, we may already be seeing this happening, because we do see the Junkyard Group, which is totally new. You got the Oceanside brought in really early, and you just have more characters overall. You have different groups of saviors that they've kind of introduced out, like Gavin and the others as well too, that they could use for an episode or two. So maybe you're right. Maybe they will fill out the season. I mean, if you think about it, Gimple promises the first 4 episodes will be incredible. So let's say the first episode is the attack on the sanctuary, and it's huge, and then the next few episodes are like outpost battles, or kind of picking up after the attack. So like, let's say episode 1, the premiere, is huge, and you have the attack in the sanctuary. Episode 2 is like afterwards, what happens after that. Then you have a couple outpost battles, and then maybe episode 5 you do like a Negan flashback episode, where you do the whole episode as a flashback sequence, similar to Here's Not Here or one of the earlier episodes. And then maybe the next 3 you have Rick and the others regrouping or something, thinking they beat Negan or something, and then having Negan kind of get set up, getting to see his side of things. 6 and then maybe the mid-season finale, 6 and 7 and 8, you have kind of the attack back, retribution, and then in the second half you'd have kind of you'd have back and forth. So you'd have Rick and the others go forward at the beginning, then you'd have Negan and the others kind of come back, and then you'd have Rick and the others come back again, and maybe have the Kingdom in there get an episode of taking out that group that's been giving them trouble, and some episodes in between for the season, and then maybe at the end of the season you have the final definitive battle, possibly at the hilltop like they did in the comics, between the survivors and the saviors. So I would like that too. Personally, I felt like what they did with Terminus and the Hunters was fantastic, but I really felt like the Hunters could have been stretched out a little bit more than what they did. They went through them really quickly, and it was exciting to see, but I really felt like maybe they could have used a little bit more with the Hunters. So we'll see what they decide to do with Season 8, and the trailer, I think, will give us a good indication as well, too. We'll get more details as we're getting closer. But write your comments below, guys. Do you think All Out War makes more sense to be half a season at this point, since we've already kind of started it with the finale? Or do you think it makes more sense, considering the amount of characters they have in the show now, considering the Junkyard Group has to be in there as well, too? You'd have to have a couple episodes in there with the Junkyard Group. You have all these different outposts, and they've done outpost episodes before, like Rick and the others attacking the one outpost, and that was really good, and that spilled over in Season 6 into the same boat, and then them trying to rescue, Maggie and Carol, and it actually worked out really good. So maybe, even though it is action, maybe they can kind of, add enough stuff in there, and really stretch out that storyline, and it wouldn't. And usually, when you think about like them filling out or stretching out a storyline, it would kind of suck. But with All Out War, maybe it wouldn't suck, because you just have so many characters and you have so much action throughout that maybe it could actually be really good. But the writers are going to have to do more work this year, because they're going to have to take a storyline that's smaller and adapt it longer. But you make some good points that might be too expensive to do a time skip mid-season, and that could be something where maybe they'd either add something in or add a new story. But I do kind of like your idea, which is that you have All Out War be the entire thing, the entirety of the season. They take their time with parts of it, and then of course our mid-season finale would be a big battle, and our finale of the season would be a huge battle, probably the biggest we've ever seen in the show. So maybe you're right. Write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about this one. And I like the idea, actually. Maybe it would be better to have All Out War be a whole season. I just like at first glance, I'm like, can they adapt all, just this 1.65? Can they adapt that into an entire season of the show? I guess they could. I guess they could if the writing is good and everything, and it works out well, then it could be really exciting for the season. But we'll have to see ultimately once the season hits how long it ends up being. But if you throw in Negan flashback, you throw in the Junkyard Group, you throw in a bunch of outpost battles, Kingdom, and different storylines bottled up sometimes here and there, a little bit like Season 7 in those in that way, I could definitely see them stretching it out to the whole season. I guess that's true. So some really good points. Cost is always, whenever you're making a prediction based on money, on how much it's going to cost them to do something, I think that's a good prediction. But yeah, man, I would think that All Out War would be a whole season, because it is a war, and for a war to last only half a season, Some really good points. So maybe you're right, and I guess I do kind of want it to be the whole season, sort of. I guess so. Even though it would slow it down a little bit, I still think it'd probably be worth it, man. It's such a pivotal point in the Walking Dead comic book series that I would kind of want to see a whole season of the war, to be honest with you. It'd just be so sweet, man. So let's hope. Fingers crossed. Prick Grimes says, the only way Negan could possibly die in Season 8 is if he accidentally snapped his spine due to all the leaning he does. That's funny. And that's a really good joke. Because also, when I watched the episodes back again, like when I watched the finale for the second time, I noticed that too. It's like, God damn it, he leans a lot, dude. I mean, he leans like, it's like a Shane head rub 2.0, right? The amount of leaning he does. But it works. It's funny. It's the way JDM does it. So it's Negan's mannerism when he's being, I guess, sarcastic or over enthusiastic or something. So it's cool. It works. I think it's a good part of his gimmick. I personally like it. Dan Hess says, please tell me I won't be the only one extremely sad if Jerry dies. I don't know why, but I find Jerry to be super entertaining. Maybe it's because he goes into Alexandria with a huge battle axe. Maybe that's why. Like what year is it? It's a zombie apocalypse, but you got all these guys with like AK-47s. You got Daryl with a gun that looks like it's from Halo, and then you got Jerry who comes in. He's got like a battle axe on his back. He's not using it; he's just shooting. But this is really funny to me. It's like, is that a battle axe? Oh my god! And I'm pretty sure it is both dual-sided. I don't think it's only one-sided axe. I'm pretty sure it's like like old school, like a dwarf would use it or something out of like Lord of the Rings or something. It's so funny. I agree with you. I hope he doesn't get killed off too. He's really, really funny character. I don't think he will. I don't think they'll kill Jerry off this year. He's really funny, and I think he'd be good to have around for Ezekiel and the Kingdom. They need characters like that. Cigar Nixka says, Trev, they should make a cameo appearance for the Whispers in All Out War. What do you think? Maybe have some B-list character like Gabriel get separated and he or she runs into the Whispers? Well, the problem is if any of them run into the Whispers, they're probably not going to get away. Of course, we know that Heath most likely has been taken by the Whispers, so we'll have to see when they decide to introduce them. Again, it's really tricky. I don't know if I want to see them in Season 8. I guess I would say that I don't. I want it to focus just on All Out War, but at the same time, it'd be really cool to see them. So I'm kind of conflicted as far as that goes. I want to see them, but I don't want to see them yet. That kind of deal. I don't want them to make the war too quick because it's just something I've been looking forward to for so long, for sure. Zombie Adam says, given the proposed longevity of the TV series, is it possible that The Walking Dead is not Rick's story or even Carl's story, but could possibly go on to be Herschel Jr.'s life story? Abraham said Maggie's baby was the future as Sasha dies, and he will go on to rebuild civilization, maybe with Judith by his side, as there's a slight shortage of others similar to him. I think The Walking Dead has actually grown so big that we follow Rick at the beginning. So if it was to be Herschel Jr.'s story, you would think that mainly with him being kind of your primary protagonist in the future, I guess you could say, or him being kind of the focal point character of the whole thing. You wouldn't start it probably with Rick and with the others and having that focus on them, and then bringing Maggie in later with Glenn and then having them do that and do it that way. But the thing is The Walking Dead has become so big, it is possible they could one day, if it goes on long enough, get into that. But the problem is that many seasons go by without that much time going by in the show. So except for when you get into time skips and things like that, unless they do a lot of time skips, if you have 3 years in the zombie apocalypse, last 7 seasons or something, or that many seasons, then they'll never grow up. The baby will, like Judith will be the baby. She'll be like a little girl, in like 10 years from now in real lifetime, or 10 seasons she'll be like young. So that's the only tricky part about that, unless they do a lot of time skips or something like that. I've always felt like it was Rick's story, and then eventually it would be Carl's to take over from Rick, and Carl becoming the main. But the thing is too, with the TV series, we're already seeing them setting it up for the long run, I think, is really smart to make it not just about Rick, but to have Andrew Lincoln in a good number of episodes, but to have it be about the world. So have it to be about all these different characters, and you can have not just like a couple A-listers, but you can or A-listers that are all related in the same family or something. Like it seemed like they might do earlier on in the show, and you had like Rick and Lori at the forefront. Shane was in there too, and then you had these others that seemed like they were kind of lesser. It's getting to the point now in The Walking Dead where it doesn't really feel like Rick is the pull ahead lead all the time. You have certain episodes where Lenny James Morgan takes the lead for that episode. Negan is the big boss, the big dog for his episodes, and you have Daryl, who's also important as well too. So you have a lot. Your A-listers are becoming, a lot more top heavy in terms of, having just like Rick or somebody at the top with a couple others and then everyone below. You're getting a lot of them, even Carol, I would say, and the way they're doing it now. So it's kind of like a more of a ensemble or a universe type of story, similar to like, for example, Game of Thrones. Just to throw one out there where you have a lot of main characters, but you have a lot of different locations. A lot of them get killed off often, and it's just a story where in that one it really doesn't have like a main character like almost at all. Not at all. But with The Walking Dead, at least Rick and some of the others kind of pull ahead here. I like what they're doing with Maggie, kind of bringing her up to like a level where she's getting close to like Rick's territory, and even Ezekiel feels like he's pretty close because he's the leader of his own group and he's got his own hierarchy and his own system and everything. So man, it's been really great. And I think it might not necessarily be about one character. The Walking Dead is getting to be so big that I think it's starting to make more sense for them to have multiple, and it to be about the world, which again kind of lends to Fear as well too, because Fear is another look at that universe, and kind of it's like the world is becoming a character in its own that's bigger than Rick almost. It's not there yet. But I think at one point it could get to that point there, especially if Rick's eventually killed off or Andrew Lincoln decides to retire or gets hurt in filming or something, which who knows, could happen. With all the zombie stunts and stuff they do. I mean, the character's certainly getting hurt. And his hand's all messed up now from, was it Winston? I always mess up the name. Or Winston, whatever. Winslow. Okay, and then the next one will be from LQ. LQ says, hey Trev, here's a question for the Q&A. When The Walking Dead ends, will you stop uploading any videos or will you move on to another series? Stay awesome, Trev. And I guess we'll wrap up with this question. I've answered it before a few times, but just to answer real quick. No, I'll be continuing on YouTube, but it's going to be probably less because The Walking Dead is such a huge passion of mine. I love The Walking Dead so much that that's what I enjoy making videos for more than anything else. Probably that passion will go somewhere else. It will spill over elsewhere when The Walking Dead eventually is over. But the comic series should last a long time. A TV series is going to last a long time as well too. Reviewing Better Call Saul, which I got to do a review for. New episode last night. Did a review for that last week, and review shows for the summer. Game of Thrones, Fear. So yeah, absolutely going to continue on. But The Walking Dead is my favorite. It's my favorite to watch. It's my favorite to do videos on. And that's why I do so much with it, is because I just love it. I mean, I know you guys do too. And that's what, most of you guys are big time Walking Dead fans, bigger than any other show for most of you. And I know that to be true based on, all the questions and stuff I get for it and everything, all your support. So, that'll be it for today's video, guys. So check out the Death Predictions if you missed it. Check out the video yesterday about Andrew Lincoln's excitement for the premiere. And this is what I really want to see for this one. Write a comment below. How long do you want to see All Out War last? And, a lot of poll here. How long do you want it to last? Do you want it to last half a season or the entire season? And that'll be it for this video, guys. If you liked it, please thumb it up below. You can also share, favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, click the button bottom left to subscribe. So for this one, guys, see you again tomorrow for another. It's always just Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.